Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is the Bodega Cat Book Club, and we are continuing our reading of the Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And today we're going to start with chapter 25. And here we go. Chapter 25, Brother Ananta and Sister Nanili. Ananta cannot live. The sands of his karma for this life have run out. This inexorable words reached my inner consciousness as I sat one morning in deep meditation. Shortly after I had entered the Swami order, I paid a visit to my birthplace, Gorakhpur, as the guest of my elder brother, Ananta. A sudden illness confined him to his bed. I nursed him lovingly. The solemn inward pronouncement filled me with grief. I felt that I could not bear to remain longer in Gorakhpur, only to see my brother removed before my helpless gaze. Amidst uncomprehending criticism from my relatives, I left India on the first available boat. It cruised along Burma and the China Sea to Japan. I disembarked in Kobe, where I spent only a few days. My heart was too heavy for sightseeing. On the return trip to India, the boat touched at Shanghai. There, Dr. Misra, the ship's physician, guided me to several curio shops where I selected various presents for Sri Yukteswar and my family and friends. For Ananta, I purchased a large carved bamboo piece. No sooner had the Chinese salesman handed me the bamboo souvenir than I dropped it on the floor, crying out, I have bought this for my dear dead brother. A clear realization had swept over me that his soul was just being freed in the infinite. The souvenir was sharply and symbolically cracked by its fall. Amidst sobs, I wrote on the bamboo surface, for my beloved Ananta, now gone. My companion, the doctor, had been observing me with a sardonic smile. Save your tears, he remarked. Why shed them until you are sure he is dead? When our boat reached Calcutta, Dr. Misra again accompanied me. My youngest brother Bishnu was waiting to greet me at the dock. I know Ananta has departed this life, I said to Bishnu before he had time to speak. Please tell me and the doctor here when Ananta died. Bishnu named the date, which was the very day that I had bought the souvenirs in Shanghai. Look here, Dr. Misra ejaculated. Don't let any word of this get around. The professors will be adding a year's study of mental telepathy in the medical course, which is already long enough. Father embraced me warmly as I entered our home. You have come, he said tenderly. 2 large tears dropped from his eyes. Ordinarily undemonstrative, he had never before shown me these external signs of affection. Outwardly the grave father, inwardly he possessed the melting heart of a mother. In all family affairs, he played this dual parental role. Soon after Ananta's passing, my younger sister Nalini was brought back from death's door by a divine healing. Before relating the story, I will refer to a few phases of our earlier life. The childhood relationship between Nanili and me had not been of the happiest nature. I was very thin. She was thinner still. Through an unconscious motive that psychologists will have no difficulty in identifying, I would often tease my sister about her appearance. Her efforts would be equally imbued with the callous frankness of extreme youth. Sometimes mother would intervene, temporarily ending the childish quarrels by a gentle box on my ear, as the elder ear. After her school years were over, Nalini was betrothed to Dr. Pachanan Bose, a likable young physician of Calcutta. Elaborate marriage rites were celebrated in due time. On the wedding night, I joined a large jovial group of relatives in the living room of our Calcutta home. The bridegroom was leaning on an immense gold brocaded pillow with Nanili at his side. A gorgeous purple silk sari could not, alas, wholly hide her angularity. Here's a footnote about the silk sari. Sari is the gracefully draped dress of Indian women. I sheltered myself behind the pillow of my new brother-in-law and grinned at him in friendly fashion. He had never seen Nanili until the day of the nuptial ceremony, where he finally learned what he was getting in the matrimonial lottery. Feeling my sympathy, Dr. Bose pointed unobtrusively to Nanili and whispered in my ear, "Say, what's this?" "Why, doctor," I replied, "it is a skeleton for your observation." As the years went on, Dr. Bose endeared himself to our family, who called on him whenever illness arose. He and I became fast friends, often joking together, usually with Nanili as our target. "It is a medical curiosity," my brother-in-law remarked to me one day. "I have tried everything on your lean sister: cod liver oil, butter, malt, honey, fish, meat, eggs, tonics. Still, she fails to bulge even 1/100th of an inch." A few days later, I visited the Bose home. My errand there took only a few minutes. I was leaving unnoticed, I thought, by Nanili. As I reached the front door, I heard her voice, cordial but commanding. "Brother, come here. You are not going to give me the slip this time. I want to talk to you." I mounted the stairs to her room. To my surprise, she was in tears. "Dear brother," she said, "let us bury the old hatchet. I see that your feet are now firmly set on the spiritual path. I want to become like you in every way," she added hopefully. "You are now robust in appearance. Will you help me? My husband does not come near me, and I love him so dearly. But my chief desire is to progress in God realization, even if I must remain thin and attractive." Here's a footnote about being thin. Because most persons in India are thin, reasonable plumpness is considered desirable. My heart was deeply touched at her plea. Our new friendship steadily progressed. One day she asked to become my disciple. "Train me in any way you like. I put my trust in God instead of tonics." She gathered together an armful of medicines and poured them down a drain outside her window. As a test of her faith, I asked her to omit from her diet all fish, meat, and eggs. After several months, during which Nanili had strictly followed the various rules I had outlined and had adhered to her vegetarian diet in spite of numerous difficulties, I paid her a visit. "Sis, you have been conscientiously observing the spiritual injunctions. Your reward is near." I smiled mischievously. "How plump do you want to be? As fat as our aunt who hasn't seen her feet in years?" "No, but I long to be as stout as you are." I replied solemnly, "By the grace of God, as I have spoken truth always, I speak truly now." Here's a footnote. The Hindu scriptures declare that those who habitually speak the truth develop the power of materializing the words. What commands they utter from the heart come to pass. Yoga Sutras 236. Because the words are built on truth, all scriptures extol it as a virtue by which man may tune his life with the infinite. Mahatma Gandhi often said, "Truth is God." His lifelong striving was for perfect truth in thought, speech, and act. Throughout the ages, the ideal of satya, truth, has permeated Hindu society. Marco Polo tells us that the Brahmins would not utter a lie for anything on earth. An English judge in India, William Sleeman, says in his journey through Oudh in 1849 to 50, "I have had before me hundreds of cases in which a man's property, liberty, or life depended on his telling a lie, and he has refused to tell it." I replied solemnly, "By the grace of God, as I have spoken truth always, I speak truly now. Through the divine blessings, your body shall verily change from today. In 1 month, it shall have the same weight as mine." These words from my heart found fulfillment. In 30 days, the lily's weight equaled mine. The new roundness gave her beauty. Her husband fell deeply in love. Their marriage began so inauspiciously, turned out to be ideally happy. On my return from Japan, I learned that during my absence, Nalini had been stricken with typhoid fever. I rushed to her home and was aghast to find her extremely emaciated. She was in a coma. My brother-in-law told me, before her mind became confused by illness, she often said, my brother Mukunda were here, I would not be faring thus. He added tearfully, the other doctors and I see no ray of hope. After her long bout with typhoid, blood dysentery has now set in. I tried to move heaven and earth with my prayers, engaging an Anglo-Indian nurse who gave me full cooperation. I applied on my sister various yoga methods of healing. The blood dysentery vanished. But Dr. Bose shook his head mournfully. She simply has no more blood left to shed. She will recover, I replied stoutly. In 7 days, her fever will be gone. A week later, I was thrilled to see Nanali open her eyes and gaze at me with loving recognition. From that day, her recovery was swift. Although she regained her usual weight, she bore one sad scar of her nearly fatal illness. Her legs were paralyzed. Indian and English specialists pronounced her a hopeless cripple. The incessant war for her life that I had waged by prayer had exhausted me. I went to Serampore to ask for Yukteswar's help. His eyes expressed deep sympathy as I told him of Nalini's plight. Your sister's legs will be normal at the end of 1 month, he added. Let her wear, next to her skin, a band with an unperforated 2-carat pearl held on by a clasp. I prostrated myself at his feet with joyful relief. Sir, you are a master. Your word that she will recover is enough. But you must insist that I will immediately But if you insist, I will immediately get her a pearl. My guru nodded. Yes, do that. He went on to describe correctly the physical and mental characteristics of Nalini, whom he had never seen. Sir, I inquired, is this an astrological analysis? You do not know her birthday or hour. Sri Yukteswar smiled. There is a deeper astrology, not dependent on the testimony of calendars and clocks. Each man is a part of the creator or cosmic man. He has a heavenly body as well as one of earth. The human eye sees the physical form, but the inner eye penetrates more profoundly, even to the universal pattern by which each man is an integral and individual part. I returned to Calcutta and purchased a pearl for Nalini. A month later, her paralyzed legs were completely healed. And here is a footnote about the pearl. Pearls and other jewels, as well as metals and plants, applied directly to the human skin, exercise an electromagnetic influence over the physical cells. Man's body contains carbon and various metallic elements that are present also in plants, metals, and jewels. The discoveries of the rishis in these fields will doubtless receive confirmation someday from physiologists. Man's sensitive body, with its electrical life currents, is a center of many mysteries as yet unexplored. Though jewels and metal bangles have remedial values for the body, Sri Yukteswar had another reason for recommending them. Masters never wish to appear as great healers. God alone is the healer. Saints, therefore, often cloak with various disguises the powers they have humbly received from the Lord. Man usually puts his trust in tangibles. When persons came for healing to my guru, he advised them to wear a bangle or a jewel in order to arouse their faith and also to divert attention from himself. The bangles and jewels possessed, in addition to their intrinsic electromagnetic healing potencies, Master's hidden spiritual blessings. Sister asked me to convey her heartfelt gratitude to my guru. He listened to the message in silence, but as I was taking my leave, he made a pregnant comment. Your sister has been told by many doctors that she can never bear children. Assure her that within a few years, she will give birth to 2 daughters. Some years later, to Nalini's joy, she bore a girl, and in a few more years, another daughter. Here's a picture of Sri Daya Mata. And I'm going to move the camera back just a bit. Oops, sorry, the other way. Oh, okay, that doesn't work. All right, so let me read the paragraph. Sri Daya Mata in Divine Communion. Sri Daya Mata, the third president of Self-Realization Fellowship, Yogoda Satsanga Society of India, absorbed in meditation during a visit to India in 1968. Paramahansa Yogananda taught us the way she has written, not only by his words and divine example, but by giving to us the scientific SRF methods of meditation. It is not possible to satisfy the soul's thirst merely by reading about truth. One must drink deep from the fountain of truth, God. Self-realization means just that, direct experience of God. A true mother of compassion, as her name Daya Mata implies, she devoted her life to loving God and serving him in all. Here's a picture of her in meditation.